Hello Blender heads, I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to this video brought to you by Luwizart. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to basically simulate your clothes inside Blender in real time. This is a nice demo which we'll be starting with just to show you guys what's possible with this. I will just play this and you can see we can actually adjust the values in real time and get real feedback. We could change the cloth material to get different results. So this is quite helpful for so many scenarios. Number one, feedback, so you can see how your animation is behaving with it. You can also, this can be quite helpful if you have a very low-end computer or your scene is quite dense and you're not looking for things to get any more dense. But of course you're going to be losing those fine qualities that you get from cloth simulations, and also you'll be losing maybe it will not look as realistic as possible because of the limitation of this method, but what you get in return is also helpful. So this is just for situations where you need like a quick cloth simulation just to kind of give an idea of motion and overlapping action for animation. Okay, yeah, so let's get started. This is going to be a relatively fast tutorial, so let's waste some time kind of showing you guys some cool stuff. This is a free software. I know most of you are familiar with it. It's called MakeHuman. It basically gives you access to generate characters. You can adjust the face, the body size, and awesome for this. It's awesome for this particular tutorial because it gives you access to a lot of clothes which we'll be working with, and then make sure the face is not hidden, so you can generate different clothing. It's a bit limited, but you could kind of work with them or use them as nice building blocks. Okay, so once we're happy with this, we can go ahead and export this guy as an FBX. So he's going to be called Cool Guy. I mean, we had the previous Cool Guy, but he didn't make it for this tutorial, so we have to export another Cool Guy. Okay, so we'll just hit the export button and come right into Blender. So let's get a new scene and import FBX. Okay, and we can see the texture if we select texture. Prefer to work in like matcap. Okay, so we need a rig for this to animate basically. Thank God we have my awesome tool. This is a tool which I plan to sell in the future, but I'm going to make available a free version that is going to have available the tool which we are using currently. So it's basically a quick auto rig generator. So it requires you to put all the assets that you plan to rig into a collection, and you just reference it here, and it gives you points to place to aid in the rig generation. I know compared to most other stuff, points might be too much, but this is the best we could get it, at least for now. But yeah, you just place your point. It's relatively fast compared to having to, I mean, it uses Rigify as the final rig, but this method is faster than the traditional Rigify method, which is prone to error, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, so once you've placed all your point, let's see, you can just click on preview rig. It does a relatively good job, especially with the fingers, as you can see. But you might want to just go in and make sure everything is okay. It's placed at the right place. Yeah, especially the bone needs to be placed at the right position. It's quite important. Okay, so now we have everything looking good, and we can just basically go ahead and bind the selected collection, and it's just going to generate a rig. So let's check if everything is okay. Everything is fine. So if you are getting like an error of penetration, this kind of stuff, maybe if you don't really want it, what we can do is basically delete the modifiers, and we'll use a tool that comes with this add-on. So basically transfer the weight rather than automatically weigh it. Okay, it's transfer weight, so we should not have that issue again. Okay, so now we need an animation. Good thing this add-on comes with an animation. I mean, In the future I'll make a demo of this. This is really awesome. You could load animation from MakeHuman or any particular animation library. It has support for auto rig, human gen. So yeah, it's kind of, and you can also create your own preset and use all this animation. So it's awesome. So let's create a simple jogging. We'll preview the animation, which is a big improvement from the first one which we did. You can actually go in and make sure that the animation fits your particular character. Okay, I'll just bring up the timeline. We can repeat the animation some more. We also want it to stay in place for the situation. So you just choose the axis that you want it to work with. You could even remove the location of the Z, and you see it looks like a wonky guy. Yeah, so we have this simple animation. There's like lots of customization here that you can spend the whole afternoon just playing with it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and apply this animation. Okay, and now we can actually officially get into the tutorial. Okay, so I will hide this rig for now. We'll not be needing it. We basically want to simulate the shirt and the pants. So let's start with the shirt. I think it's combined, but we need to separate them. So I would just lasso select everything and make this its own object. So we have this separated. Okay, so we want to simulate this. I mean, the system actually allows us to simulate the entire cloth just as one mesh. But okay, let's just do this first of all. So the way the system works, it works with this advanced stuff called proxy. So I'm kidding. Proxy is quite familiar if you've used 3D for a long time. It's basically if you have one dense mesh. So let's say this UV sphere. A proxy version would basically have the same shape and everything, but have less vertices. Okay, so if we can get this proxy to be able to control this sphere, then we have the system working for us. Okay, so that's how the system is going to work. We have a proxy mesh and then we simulate it onto it. So don't go yet, because you guys are missing the magic charm yet. The magic charm is the surface deform modifier. The surface deform modifier is very powerful, but it's a bit tricky to use for situations like this, and that's what I'm going to show you how to really solve today. So first of all, we need to create a proxy collider. So we don't want to use the main character as a collision mesh, because in this particular situation it's not really dense, but in most situations your character might be dense and it's going to make the simulation take longer. So you just want to optimize it where you can. So let's call this collider. Okay. So let's isolate this. So basically what we want to do is just decimate this mesh. So in the modifier you just want to reduce the value. So what you're looking to keep is just the overall shape, but you want to still retain, you want to reduce the vertex count. So let's say 0.2. Okay, once you're done, importantly apply it, so it's the mesh now. Okay, so we can select this collider for more just visual feedback. We're going to set this display type to bounce, so it's going to be this box stuff. Next we need to create the clothes proxy. So this is a bit more tricky because that's where the work is. So same thing we did, we'll duplicate the shirt and let's move it into this collection, and let's just go ahead and call this cloth effects. Okay, and for this cloth we'll call it shirt proxy. Okay, so let's work on the proxy mesh. Before we do that, let me give you a problem you might encounter if you've ever used the surface deform modifier. So basically I want this shirt to be driven by this proxy mesh. So if I select the shirt and go into the modifier and select the surface deform modifier, and we select the proxy mesh as the driver, and we click on bind. So you will get this known error, which is called target contains a concave polygon. So what this is saying, it's saying the mesh is open and the surface deform modifier prefers to work with closed mesh. And by closed mesh is this is a closed mesh, okay? This is not a closed mesh. This is basically a concave mesh, so you want to always find a way to close your mesh up. Okay, so so that's what we need to do now. So let's select this. Sorry, we need to select the proxy shard, and we'll switch the viewport to display into textured. So we go into edit mode. Just click on this. We want to select everything and search for hole. So we want to select the fill hole. So once you select this, it seems like nothing happened, but something did happen. If you click here in this adjust last operation, you can play with this value. Another place where you can find this particular option is to go to edit, adjust last operation, and you have the same thing here. So typically you just set this to 100, so, or the highest value, so you close all the holes present in this asset. This is a very important stage, so let's set this back to bound, and if we try again, we're still going to get that error. So there's a missing sharpen shown. This is what makes it work. So you want to select everything and press Ctrl T to triangulate the faces. So this is important for it to work. Basically what this does is connects all the faces that we've created, and yeah. Okay, so we're almost done now, and let's try to bind it again. Oh no. Okay, so the weirdest thing happened. Yeah, I was trying to bind it and it wasn't working until I restarted Blender. So if you experience that issue, yeah, you should probably restart your Blender and try again. But the technique I'm going to show you is it definitely works. So this is what I did. You remember we kind of ripped through the cloth, so I basically made sure that the edges which we ripped through was neat to just prevent anything. And yeah, so I will duplicate this and move it into the cloth effects. I'm actually happy it happened. So I kind of tested to make sure this is foolproof, and it is. Yeah, so we select everything, and like we did everything whole, set this to 100, Ctrl T to triangulate it, and we can test it. So I'll call this shirt proxy. So we'll select the shirt proxy. Yeah, so it works. So just that step, if you experience it, sometimes restarting Blender also helps. So once you have this, you're practically done. What's left now is just basically simulation. So we'll be simulating the shared proxy. So for that, let's optimize it actually, because that's the point. So we can see it's quite dense. So we can either optimize it from using the decimate modifier here. So let's do decimate. I'll make this wired for now. So we can see the proxy version. So you want to just reduce it enough that it gives you good performance, but not also enough that you still get a nice deformation. So I think this is good. So let's test to make sure that the bind will still work. So it does work. So we can apply the decimate modifier now. Unbind this and bind it again. Yeah, so we have that working. So this is our decimated version. So I'll make this a bound. Okay, now we can go ahead and add the cloth simulation, and we'll select the collider and make it a collider. Right off the bat, I'll make the thickness about 0.2. I mean, you can play with that as you like, so we can see what's happening. Before, we need to create like vertex group to tell Blender, hey, we want this particular point not to move so much. But before I do that, I want you to look at certain aspects. So let's look at the edges of the hands. It's a bit messed up because of the way the proxy mesh are, like it, since we have other hole closed for the proxy version. So we can see all the holes are closed, so the simulation will probably not handle it well and should just deform the cloth. There's two solutions for that. The first solution is to basically make it to pin that point so that it doesn't move at all. So let's just kind of pin certain areas, so we don't want the color to move so much. Maybe this place should not move so much. Okay, and we can add this to a vertex group assign, so we'll call this pin. So note we are painting on the shared proxy, not the main shared. So for that we go to shape and search for pin, and if we play it now, we can see those places we painted are staying hold. I wanted to experiment with something because, like I mentioned, the edges of the cloth are going to look a bit rough. So we want it to retain, we want it to be clean. So one thing we can do is just select it and create a new vertex group, and this is on the main mesh now, so we'll call this clean up. So it should look like this. You could smooth it out. So what we'll do here is add a corrective smooth, so it's basically going to try to retain the original form of the cloth no matter what is above it. So let's select that cleanup collection. So no matter what, we're still getting a clean output from that particular. It's not going to be so much messed up. We can also increase the scale, and yeah. Okay, so now we've got to the simulation. As you can see, it's real time. We can just basically play with all of this. So let's set this to a cotton shirt. For the vertex mass, we'll set this to 0.02. We'll set the bending model to linear. It performs better. But let's make sure we are in play every frame. Okay. Okay. Reduce this some more. So the scene, your scene, the size of your scene also matters in playing with this value. Okay. I think the solution which I showed you is not working, so we just need to pin this, the edges. Yeah, we'll add it to the pin, so it will look like this. So basically, all the edges that has the face capped up, you want to make sure it's pinned. Maybe you can use this corrective smooth as a alternative, a double layer cleanup. But yeah, you should do that. So I'm just going to use the leather deformation. I think it gives me a much better results most times. And okay, so adding the corrective smooth just to smooth everything out, and I think we need to increase the collision bound, so let's go 0.06. Okay, so what's happening here is, like, maybe the vertex the proxy mesh doesn't have enough vertices there, that it doesn't have enough vertices that it will help capture that. So we could try subdividing that. I've never tried that before, but let's see. So we'll just add details where we need them. Okay, and then we'll probably definitely need to oh boy, no, it doesn't work again. Yeah, that's the surface deform modifier for you. So we'll just do the decimate one more time. Honestly, this works. It's just, yeah, just a bit tricky for this one. So I'm going to reduce it slightly. Okay, so it works now. Yeah, so sometimes you might, if you make like big changes, you might need to decimate stuff. And this place that is quite problematic, rather than deal with it, we can just move this out of the way. So I'm not painting on the or sculpting on the main mesh, I'm just sculpting on the paint version. So that place doesn't really move so much. So it's just kind of, yeah. So you guys kind of see it. You might experience this, but the advantage of this is you have good feedback. So you can always kind of tweak things till you get something that looks nice for you. Yeah, so we can maybe increase the vertex mass to like 0.05, so we have it more jumpy. That's too much. Okay, yeah, so that's it, and we are running at 16. Yeah, if I caches it the first time, then you get much real time. Yeah, so there's it. Ignore this stuff I had to extrude just to kind of experiment with something, but typically this should not be a problem. Yeah, so that will be for this tutorial. Certain things didn't go as expected, but I promise you this actually works, especially for the surface deform modifier. So to recap, you have to look out for you first close the holes, you triangulate, and if you don't want to decimate, that's fine, but decimating is the main point of the optimization process. Yeah, so that's it. Bye bye for now, see you next time. Sorry for not uploading videos more regularly. For maybe for the past weeks, I've been quite busy. Lots of big changes for my life. I relocated, finished my masters, and also some professional work. Yeah, so I hope I'm back for good and we'll upload more regularly. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Bye bye for now. See you next time.